Good evening. Welcome to Knittings and Sewings, episode 27. This is a podcast about all things fiber-related, knitting, sewing, spinning, weaving, crochet, and a wide variety of other things as well. And I'd like to welcome you back tonight for those of you who are returning. And for new viewers, thanks for joining me. Give me a comment below and let me know how you found out about this podcast. I'm coming to you from Kansas City, and my name is Shelley. I am on Ravelry. I can be found as Chellec, Shelley C on Ravelry. And if you'd like to write to me in an email, I'm at knittings and sewings, plural, at yahoo.com. I'll have those links for you below, and any of the things I refer to, I will give a link at the bottom for you to refer back to. Well, it's been a couple of weeks, and I've had a very productive couple of weeks in terms of my making. So I wanted to first begin by showing you the sweater I'm wearing, the Totally Tubular Turtleneck. And on the sides here, I'm going to put up pictures of what it looks like wearing it full view out on my deck. So you can see kind of, I think the fit is a good fit. It is a little bit looser, not as clingy. I mean, it's loose enough that I could conceivably wear a blouse beneath this if I were in really cold weather and wanted to have an underblouse. But yet it's, I think it's a good fit. I have short arms and a short neck. So I did alter the pattern, and this pattern is by Park Williams. I want to double check that name. It's a totally tubular turtleneck, and it is knit in a worsted weight yarn using size 10.5 needles for the body and size 9 needles for the cuff and the sleeve, as well as the ribbing at the bottom. And I, for once, was actually at gauge. I did a gauge swatch, and I did meet my gauge. Through the body, I combined two different yarns. The hot pink color is the Hobbii Fluffy Day, and it's in a hot pink color, number 15. And then throughout the body, I combined it with a mock mohair that is a lace weight, so just a carry along thread to give me a variegated kind of look to the fabric, which I thought was really nice. I liked that. I followed the pattern directions as written, except for shortening the collar. I wanted only a 6-inch collar because instead of a 12, and I made the cuffs at 3.5 inches. I didn't make extended cuffs. I did expand the length a little bit, adding an extra 3 inches of length, 3 inches or so, maybe 4 of length. But you do have at the bottom a 3.5-inch ribbing. So I have on mine from the underarm down, it's 11 inches total. And it has kind of a lower underarm, you do some decreases on the arm. And I did my sleeves separately on a size 9 needle with the Addy Flexi Flips, because that's how I like to do my sleeves. I like to have them on the Flexi Flip needles, and they seem to go faster that way for me. This entire project, from beginning to end, I started it on January 29th, and I finished on March 10th, including blocking. So for me, that was a really fast knit. I did it in about 6 weeks. And considering that it does have the sleeves also and is a full-size sweater, I used about 900 yards of yarn, which also surprised me that I wouldn't use more. I would think, for this size pullover, I did do the size 3, and I was pretty much just at gauge, just exactly spot on. So I was pleased with how it turned out. Okay, now another finished object. I've had some good success, like I say, in finishing things in the last couple of weeks. You may recall these blue jean socks. I call them blue jean socks. The actual name of the pattern is Vanilla Latte Socks by Virginia Rose Jeans, and Jeanes. And she no longer has this pattern available for free on Ravelry as it was last year. I started this sock knitting like a year and 3 months ago. And I did one other pair of socks that I finished last year, right at the end of the year. But this pair and the other were the only 2 pairs of socks I actually finished. And it took me here until just the other day to finish these up. So you may be wondering, why did it take so long to make just a simple cuff down pair of socks? And the only reason I can say is that, I had a lot of projects going on last year, but I just, had a lot of things going at once and just had these sitting in my knitting bag for a long time. So I also found that on one of the socks, I had gotten stopped at the gusset, which is a place I often do kind of get hung up when it comes to socks. If it's a cuff down sock, I speed right along through the leg and through the heel turn and the heel flap. But when it comes to the gusset, I just naturally slow way down because I think I don't like having all those extra stitches on the needles, and I never quite know what to do with them, how to distribute them on the needles. And I do use flexi flips for my sock knitting, but it doesn't matter what kind of yarn you use. I seem to always get stuck at the gusset. That's just my personal little Waterloo. What I decided to do this year, or this time, is to work on a toe-up sock. I've done these before in the past, but this sock pattern is by Mariette Potgieter. And Potgieter. And she designed a sock called the DB Toe-Up Socks. This is a pattern I purchased for $6 off Ravelry. And the main sock yarn I'm using is the, I think it's called Baah New York, but I'll put the name down in the notes. It's a type of colorway called Toucan Do It. Like toucan, like the bird, Toucan Do It. And it's a lime and yellow and all different summery colors with some pink and navy speckles in it. And I decided for the toe, for the contrast on the toe and heel, I would use this leftover magenta type yarn that I have used in several projects. It almost matches my sweater, doesn't it? I seem to like this color a lot. But anyway, I just started this literally, I started Monday, the 11th, so just 3 days ago. And already you can see I'm making some fairly good progress. I started with the Judy's Magic cast on that the pattern calls for. And then I started increasing up to my total. For me, my sock stitch total is 56 because I have a small foot. So already I've, gotten probably 1.5 or 2 inches into the little foot from the toes. So I like this. I'll bring it up a little closer so you can see it. I like this a lot, and I think it will go faster. One reason that I particularly like this pattern is because I was searching out a pattern that would be toe-up vanilla sock that would have a heel flap. Because one thing I'm always missing from traditional cuffs that I like, the traditional cuff down socks, is I really like the heel flap and the heel turn and that kind of thing. And so many of the toe-up sock patterns don't have that option. They will instead just do a short row heel of some type, or an afterthought heel, but then it ends up being, the afterthought is to turn it into a short row technique. And for me, the full heel flap with the slip stitch heel is very durable, lasts a long time, and looks good to me. I really like it. So I was happy to have found, I believe, a pattern for toe-up socks, this DB toe-up socks, that actually has the option, or has the design to do the total slip stitch heel flap like you have in traditional socks. And in fact, I would be hard pressed looking at this picture. I would be hard pressed to think that it was a toe up sock. It looks like more like a traditional heel and toe. So it would just from all appearances look like a traditional sock. So I'm going to put a link down there to that. And as I work through this pattern, I will let you know how user friendly I feel it is. Looking at it from the way she's written the pattern, and she's included 6 different videos that go with the pattern. So when you purchase the pattern, you get the video support as well. And I watched some of those videos and found them very helpful. So I think this is going to be a really winning sock pattern for me. I'm very excited. The designer of this is from South Africa, and she has designed several toe-up socks. That seems to be her preferred method. And one thing I like about this pattern too is that it's not designed for one specific type of sock knitting method. So whether you knit magic loop or 9-inch circulars or flexi flips or socks on 2 circs or any kind of configuration, including regular double pointed needles, you'll find the basic pattern usable in any of those sock knitting methods. And so again, I am very impressed with it so far, and I'm happy that I've already gotten, beyond just the cast on, and I'm making some good progress. And so I think I'm going to really like these, and I wanted to tell you about them and provide a link for you as well to check them out. Here we are getting ready to do the first step in the acid dyeing process with the fleece I've been spinning for the past year. This is a BFL mix, and the yarn is all in the tub, soaking in acid, which is apple cider vinegar. And hopefully after it absorbs the vinegar, we will be dyeing it in crock pots outside. So we'll let you know how it goes. The goal is to get it from cream to crimson. Here we are out in the backyard, and we're going to do the attempt to transform the cream into the crimson. And I've got a dyeing shirt on. I should probably have it on a little better. But right now we've already mixed our dye, so there's no need to wear a mask on this part, or at least I'm not choosing to. I wear a mask when I mix the dye. So the mix, my particular mix, is I'm using a Jacquard acid dye in crimson, and I'm using 3 cups of water, 1/2 cup of vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of crimson dye for each of this. And I've got 2 in here, so this is 6 cups. I'm trying to dye 7 of these skeins. And so I'm going to first lay the skein in. I may not be able to get, with what I've got here, I may not be able to do it all in one batch. Maybe able, got 3 left. I may save this for another batch because I don't want to overfill things. So I'm just going to, now that I've already mixed this, the dye has already been mixed, and these are specific crock pots that I reserve for dyeing. So these are not used for home use for food or anything else. They're reserved. And I'm just going to pour these right in, because full strength at what, because that's what my test sample was. This is not at all an exact science. Keep this in mind. I'm just putting enough in there to kind of cover, because acid dyes have to be heat activated. So I'm going to be keeping these warm. And again, keep in mind that I probably actually may not even have enough dye worked up yet, but we'll see here. I'm trying to get crimson. And I have a tablecloth down, I think I'm just gonna do these two. Bob, can you turn off that, or I will, this pot, because we're not gonna have time to do, we're not gonna have enough stuff to do that. We'll try these two first. See how these do. And we will need to keep these, you know, get the heat absorbed. And hopefully it'll be enough dye. If not, I might have to over dye, because this looks to me like it's absorbing more of a cherry red. And I wanted more of a darker red. So we'll see. Well, I have a disappointing update to report. I've dyed 5 of the skeins. 3 are still soaking, they're rinsing. But you can see that I did not get the color I wanted, and I'll have to put up a color later of what it was I was after, but this isn't it. This is closest to it, but it was even darker. It was a really pretty color. And instead I got the cherry red on most of these. And this one came out of the dye pot that I had on the hot burner. Whatever you call that thing. And these two, the cherry reds, came out of the dye pots. And if you'll notice, Bob, if you'll hone in, another thing that's kind of confusing to me is that the dye stuff, the dye water did not, normally it absorbs into the yarn, and you end up with a clear end result. It exhausts. It's called the dye exhausts. With this, for some reason, it did not, and so I don't know why. It just goes to show for me that dyeing, like I said earlier, is a very capricious thing. You don't, I have no idea why I got this color. Now, if I had all of it turn out like this, I would be relatively happy. I would be happy, and I would go with it. But I'm concerned that I'm not going to have even enough consistency to get a sweater's worth of yarn. And at this point, I could over dye it, but I don't know that I would end up with the same result either. So I'm still contemplating what to do about this situation. The other 2 remaining skeins in the pot down there rinsing are more like this. And I don't know if they're exact or not, but these 2 look pretty close. So possibly I would have enough yarn in this amount to maybe make a vest if I wanted to keep it the way it was. I just don't know. Or I could try to over dye all of it the same color. I just don't know yet what I'm going to do. But I wanted to show you that not everything I've been doing turns out well. Sometimes I have an epic fail, and I would consider those one of these projects. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to do a quick update. I have been working for a few days on this sock that I started the other day and showed you. And just wanted to show you how quick the progress is on this sock. It's a toe up, and it's the DB toe up socks that I mentioned earlier. And right now I have finished the increases on the sides of the gussets. And so I will now be going into the heel turn, because she does have an actual heel turn on this sock and a slip stitch heel. So I'm really looking forward to that. But just wanted to show you I have done the 55 rows of foot stitches that are required for this particular sock in my size. And so I'm going to get on with turning the heel soon and doing a slip stitch heel. And hopefully by next time I see you, next episode, I will have finished one of these socks, at least one, to show you how I like the sock. But so far I'm really enjoying it. And I also wanted to show you that I took up another new hobby. When I talk about how I do knitting, spinning, weaving, sewing, all kinds of things, one of the extra things I do occasionally is, or long to do, is to do an inkle loom. And I've been interested in both inkle weaving and card weaving in the past. This is a harp. It's called Windhaven Looms. This is made by an Etsy seller who is a girl who's been making these, young lady, for several years. And so anyway, I bought this a couple of years ago, but had it sitting aside for quite some time because I had just been intimidated to use it. I did a little bit of attempted card weaving a couple of years ago, and but when I got this loom, I really haven't used it. I put it aside, and so my friend Carolyn over the weekend last weekend did me a huge favor and just set me down and worked with me step by step in getting this warped. And I thought there was some kind of special magic to it. It had to have a certain path, but she helped me do it step by step, and she let me do it, more importantly, because I'm a kinesthetic learner. So I only really learn things by doing them myself. So I was really happy to get started on this. This is going to be, I've got a band that is going to be probably a collar and leash for Walter, if there is enough band for that. I at least would like to do a collar, and so would like to do a matching collar and leash for him. So I will let you know how that goes and what that turns into by next time, hopefully. So you can see I'm doing a lot of things at once right now, and so, you know, hopefully, speaking of Walter, do you want to come over here? You haven't gotten in the action today. You want to get up here? Get up here and show people. There you are. Show people your cute face. Anyway, well, he's not looking right now, but anyway, Walter, you need a collar and leash, don't you? You sure do. So anyway, he's going to hopefully have a collar and leash next time that we talk. And I also wanted to mention another thing I would like to try to do yet this month. We're only at the 21st right now, and I would still like to cast on some kind of simple little shawl for this is National Crochet Month, and I haven't been crocheting quite some time, and I really miss that. So I have a crochet shawl in mind and maybe some yarn. I ordered some yarn for it and it arrived, but I'm not quite sure if I am happy with it or not. I'll find out as I work with that. Let you know on that next time also. And anything else? Oh, I really want to make an emotional support chicken. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but there's a knit shop called The Knitting Tree in California, and they have started, there is a design for it. You can purchase the pattern on Ravelry, and you can also purchase a kit if you prefer to work with a kit. But they say it's just a really cute, you probably already heard about it. I think almost everybody has been talking about it, and podcasters have been making them and showing them on their podcast. So I hope to be starting one. I haven't even started it yet. I haven't even picked out my yarn yet, but I intend to go through my stash here soon and try to see if I can put together the right stuff to make the emotional support chicken. So I'll be working on that, getting that started. There's just so many things that I have been doing, and doing everything all at once. So you know, I haven't really you know, had this much productivity in a long time. I think the spring is really stirring up a desire in me to do all kinds of different projects, and it's really lifting my mood. So I hope you two are getting into, if you're on the northern hemisphere, that you're enjoying this spring. For those of you who are in the southern hemisphere, I guess you're experiencing fall, which is also a wonderful time of year. So anyway, but I will be starting some more things even than what I've already started, and so next time hopefully you'll see some of those things and how they're progressing. I haven't even started some of them yet. I just have plans in my head. One thing I want to mention is, as far as books are concerned, I have been reading the Becky Chambers Wayfayer series. As many of you know, I am a huge science fiction fan, and I had started reading the first book. There's 4 books in this series, and the first book, it was called something about an angry planet. I'll have to put the titles up here because I read it a while back, and then I'm now in the 3rd book, which is Record of a Spaceborn Few. and this is the third book. You can read these books as standalone books, because really what I'm finding so far is they don't directly relate with one another, but yet the style is very similar and they are sort of connected, but you could read each of them independently, I believe, and you wouldn't miss out. It's not like a series where you have to have read one book to understand the second book. It's really not necessarily sequential or directly related. But I'm really enjoying this book in the series, and I would have to say this is definitely my favorite of the three I've read so far. But it makes me eager to get on to the fourth. But in this one, I just finished it. The thing I loved about this particular one, in addition to the excellent world building that Becky Chambers does, she also had an alien species in this particular novel, and they're called the Hermogians. And so, as you know, my love for aliens, I'm really enjoying reading about the Hermogians. And the Hermogians feel that humans really smell badly. They have a very porous body structure, and so human beings really smell to them. And anyway, it's just a lot of funny little things that are involved with the alien. But I'm enjoying that. Speaking of aliens, okay, I've got to tell you, one reason I'm getting so much knitting done and so much other things, my rigid heddaloom too. I've been doing my spring table runner, and I've just taken off on that as well. I'm like 44 inches into the spring table runner on my rigid heddaloom that I was warping last time we were together. Anyway, I've been doing all these different things, and one thing that is spurring me on to do so many projects is because I have been binge watching a wonderful series I found on Netflix, and I believe it started with the Science Fiction Channel, but now you can get it on Netflix, and I believe maybe also on Paramount if you subscribe to any of those. But there is so far 2 completed series of The Resident Alien, and I'm telling you, I am so enjoying this TV series. I mean, I haven't enjoyed a TV series this much in years and years. And it kind of almost reminds me of a Northern Exposure type of, where you have that small town feel and you get to know all the people in the town. And so, but there is an alien, and very much present. Harry is the alien who's very much present throughout this series. I have just finished up season 2, and I mean binge watched. From the last time I talked to you, I may have just started the series, or maybe not even started it yet, and in the last couple of weeks I have just binge watched these episodes. And so I'm now actually finished with episode 2, season 2, and I'm now ready to move into season 3, which I think I can pick up on Paramount. I think the Netflix only will take you through the first 2 seasons. But I mean, this thing has taken off like hotcakes. I'm not the only one. So if you have not seen this Resident Alien series, and you love science fiction, or you love aliens, or even if you don't, if you just like those small town series, it has the camaraderie of like a show like Parks and Rec, or the small town stories and intimate portrayals of people like Northern Exposure, and a real sense of place. Even though the series takes place supposedly in it's a fictional town in Colorado, it's actually filmed in Vancouver, Canada. So it is a totally fictional town. And anyway, very charming, funny, touching, emotional, engaging. It's literally one of my favorite series I've seen in a long, long time. So if you are somebody who loves science fiction, or loves aliens, or just loves a good, deep, funny TV series, I think you would really love this, and it would get you through a lot of projects, no matter what craft that you're doing. I guess that about wraps it up this time. Until next time, love what you're making and wear what you make. Bye now.